with you further because we want to get it right.
Thank you, sir.
Second round,
Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Tester of Montana is recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to welcome Senator Scott back to committee, even though Rounds did an outstanding job. He's no Tim Scott, you know what I mean? And I would also say that I'm sad that you got out of the race because I think you're fundamentally a good man. And
Thank you very much.
And we appreciate your efforts.
Well, you'll serve in one of my future administrations.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. And I also want to apologize because Senator Brown and I were talking about China Iagland when you were giving your open statement. We've got some issues. This is a bill that Rounds and you're familiar with as well as the chairman that comes out of this committee. Exactly. And just to release a little frustration I have, there are some over in the House, a chairman in particular, that doesn't think the Chinese Communist Party is a threat to this country. And that bothers me a lot. And I visited with the good senator from South Dakota on this already, and we'll figure out a path forward. But the truth is that
John,
it's better to deal with stuff before it happens than afterwards.
Yeah, I appreciate that, John. I appreciate your apologies. I hope that your chairman is kind enough to you to extend a little extra time to you. I know how hard he is to deal with sometimes. So
He's,
he gives
I
you
will always
60
give
seconds.
extra time when people say nice things about Tim Scott.
so exactly. He's a tough
You just
character.
can't help it, do you?
Director Chopra, thank you for being here. I appreciate your work. I chair the Veterans Affairs Committee. I've been working with Chairman Brown to protect the folks after they get done with their service to the country, the veterans. And we've had an issue with home loan guarantee benefits and veterans losing their homes due to foreclosure. The VA took quick action. I applaud them for that after we sent a letter off on the VA home loan issue. And hopefully they're able to work for a permanent solution moving forward. But I'm concerned about how these folks got into the situations to begin with. We need to make sure that our veterans, their service members, as Chairman Brown said, and their families are being served in the right way by the VA, by the lenders, and by the mortgage servicers. So do you know if this is something the CFPB has been hearing about from our veterans and our service members?
Yes, and in fact, if you'll recall, we had some things that rhymed with this many years ago with the VA home loan churning with refinancing. And now I also want to agree with you. I'm happy the Department of Veterans Affairs, the actions they're taking. The VA home loan program is enormous. It's critically important. But of course, we do see bad actors targeting beneficiaries.
And what tools do you have to stop that?
So our authority is really on the lenders and the servicers. So we have to police for our laws, but of course, the Department of Veterans Affairs, we work with them on their program guidelines to make sure that the homeowner is protected. And I will tell you, a wrongful foreclosure of a veteran, especially an older one, it's a very, very devastating consequence to deal with, and we're looking at ways to prevent avoidable foreclosures like that.
Thank you for that. Last month in the VA committee, we had a hearing on financial protection for our veterans and their families and discussed ways that folks in our military community, our veterans, have been taken advantage of. And the responsibility that the VA has, that the CFPB has, that the FTC has to protect them. Just for a little background, there are accredited veteran service organizations out there that help veterans access their earned benefits. But there are also a growing number of organizations trying to take advantage of our veterans for money. This always tends to be the case when you have a steady flow of income into a community. A lot of this, I believe, is in your bailiwick, like watching the companies trying to collect on debt related to unaccredited VA claims consultants. Number one, is this on your radar screen? Number two, what trends are you seeing?
Yeah, so in our regular sessions that I participate with our VSOs and military family advocates, the unaccredited consultants, I think a major way they're getting in is often through social media advertising. And I think we have to figure out how they are using, TikTok, others to reach those veterans, make claims. I worry about how we will be able to detect perpetrators there, but it certainly is something of ongoing discussion in our Office of Service Member Affairs in the VA. And I have to be honest with you, I think it is going to maybe also need to involve criminal law enforcement.
Okay. One of the things that crossed my mind during the hearing is, are we seeing the cases of these folks being taken advantage of more prevalent in the veterans community or the active duty community, or is this stuff happening regardless, that there's no difference between those two?
Well, generally speaking, I think you will see more in the veterans community because there's often a target of a government benefit. So that is a place that people, will see dollar signs.
Yeah.
And immediately go after it. In many ways, it's pretty easy to identify a military family or veteran, often through social media and the data broker world that now exists.
And I think you've already touched on this, but I want to flesh it out a little more. What do you see as the biggest risks that the CFPB can help with as it applies to the financial solvency of our veterans?
Well, certainly, I think home ownership and being kicked out of your home and being able to get a loan modification by sheer dollars, it's a huge amount of money. And that's why we're looking at streamlining some of our mortgage servicing rules to allow more people to more easily get loan modifications and be able to avoid foreclosure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Tester. Senator Vance from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Mr. Chopra, for being here. So I want to talk about a couple of issues.